So, like, remember that time in Vermilion Wasteland when Shizuka just barged into the room and is like, hey, you're an AI, you're a fake person, you're based off of me, none of your memories are your own. And it kind of caused a small freak out. Turns out that's kind of just like a hobby for her. Thanks, Shizuka.
Just every so often, occasionally pop in and be like, hey, remember me? No, you don't, because you're not real.
The one-woman existential crisis machine. But let's not think about that. Let's go back to video games. Leah's like, I don't even know where to begin with any of that. I have to say, it is kind of bold as a design conceit in a video game to say, right, our goal is to reach the end of the video game. Like, I know games set within other games is a thing that's like, you know, it's not completely original, but I don't think they've ever said the quiet part so loud before.
Oh shit, it's gonna be time for another raid.
Absolutely nothing to read into any of this, by the way. All just totally normal occurrences.
Can't believe we're gonna have another opportunity to fuck this up for everybody.
So yeah, we can take the opportunity to stop and do some stuff. There's not a whole lot of stuff that actually unlocks specifically at this point. Most of it is stuff that's all been available since before. You might recall though that we picked up the not Konami code just outside, and technically we could have just turned around and gone out and gone and done that whole thing. We'd have had Emily and Apollo with us. But I decided not to. If only just so that there could be some kind of meaningful content between this point and doing some plot stuff and moving on to the next part of the plot. Also, yeah, these players have all just been sat here for literally 24 hours. It's great. Writers, what are you doing? There's nobody thinking about continuity anymore. Definitely don't think about the implications of going back to the other dungeon clear rooms and all those guys all still being there. definitely don't start just questioning the sanity of trying to maintain some kind of real-time continuity in a static video game. That would just be an extremely normal thing to do.
I mean, I feel like it wouldn't be that hard. Just despawn everybody after you go through the room.
Yeah, but what if people want to go back and catch up on the content? Also, yes, so, Gran Criscayo is technically the most vertical dungeon in the game. There's like 8 or 9 floors. I didn't exactly count how many there were. There's a lot, but there being multiple floors doesn't ever really come into this. It's still, the structure is pretty straightforward. Also, this is the good opportunity to go and actually get all of the chests. They are, like we said before, they are almost entirely freebies. Very few of them are really hidden, and the ones that are hidden are still pretty easy to find. It's just that trying to find them when you're actually running through the dungeon for the first time is probably going to eat up just enough time, such that even if you're pretty snappy on the rest of the race, you will probably still lose. So, I don't like that. Fortunately, most of the actual stuff that we have to do isn't particularly complicated. See, look, it's just there. These things are all just out there, slightly off camera. It's weirdly lazy. I don't feel like being low effort is a criticism you can level at CrossCode very often. But there's a sense that when they were placing these, they just ran out of ideas. This is probably the hardest one to get. And it's an equipment.
It's only hard to get, though, because it's really shitty and hard to tell where you're actually gonna fall down.
Yeah, it's not difficult or complicated, it's just obfuscated and takes a couple of attempts, Fortunately, the prize is actually worth it. Pretty good passes and stats on that thing. The game's pretty consistent about the mid-dungeon equips being worth it. Anyway, that trophy in particular is for finding all of the chests in all 3 of the Gaia's Garden dungeons. Just a fun fact. Yeah, you called it. Man, what is this? We're surrounded by considerate people. This is bullshit. You should be dragging your friends kicking and screaming through content that they're apprehensive about. This never would have happened if Apollo was in charge.
I don't think we want to be part of a guild that Apollo is in charge of.
I also think that. Or rather, I don't think that. You know what I mean. Oh well. We're not going on a second raid, but it's not like there's nothing to do. Also, wow, these guys are hyping up Sapphire Ridge. Wonder why that is. Also, I wonder what Buggy meant by that one comment to Emily. That's probably nothing. Anyway, this is definitely the point where we can freeform our party. As mentioned, there's no real point to mixing and matching and for anything other than mechanical purposes. But if you want to have Tronny and Apollo along, you can absolutely do that.
I can't believe they would miss that opportunity. Like...
Right?
Like, you've got one insufferable nerd about lore, and one insufferable nerd about realism, and you give me the opportunity with them both in the party, and you didn't, like, fucking jump on that?
I guess the writers only have so many hours in the day. Like, I am really hoping that the DLC goes full course correction on this. Like, it is exactly the kind of thing that you would do if you're a developer and you did this thing as a pragmatic concern for time, and then players bought this up, because you better believe players bought this up. What a golden opportunity. I really hope they took that open goal and smashed it home. So yeah, at exactly one point in the entire video game, there is an actual event chain that spawns out of a direct link call. Well, chain is kind of a strong word, it's basically just one additional conversation that appears afterwards, but like, hey, it's something. The game logic is here. They are capable.
This feels absolutely insufferable. I'm glad that this is the only time they did it. Can you imagine if this was just everywhere throughout the game?
Yeah. Like, it's not really a huge deal, it's only a couple of small items and a tiny amount of dialogue. There's not much to it.
Right, but it could have been so much worse, with almost zero effort.
Yeah. I mean, no, that's probably why they didn't do it. Also, like, Jern, you know you're joining a party with Apollo, right? That's not... You shouldn't say that. Bad timing. But I digress. I'm just saying, it's like... It's just neat that the capability is there for this to work. It's, like you said, it's probably for the better that they didn't go whole hog on getting that content there. It's just neat that they could have. That's really it. Anyway. Also, whoops.
You did it right, you fool! You absolute buffoon!
Yeah. I'm sorry, I can't help it, it is reflexive. So what if there was an entire, very short, but still a hidden dungeon. Well, dungeon is a strong word, but...
That sounds very CrossCode.
Yeah. Like I said, dungeon is a strong word. This is a handful of puzzles in a sequence. It is not a full length, or even a half length, or even a quarter length dungeon, but it has the Sonai's Temple design, it has this stuff in it, it's got puzzles, it's even got hidden chests. This one stumped me for a decent while, but I'm not even sure if this is actually how you're supposed to do this, but we probably could have got this more conveniently with the other ball, but I couldn't figure out how to do it, and I'm always up for a bullshit ricochet. So here we are. Here's the meat of this place. That first platform is just a complete troll by the game. At this point, they know they've got perspective issues. They just did that to mess with you. Don't deny it. The reason I can tell, by the way, is because it's completely benign. Nothing really is the worse for that jump being there. It infuriates you for all of about a second. And then you're like, CrossCode. Your designers are getting self-aware. Also, yes, the frame rate has gone a bit weird here. I think I've mentioned this before, this started happening at some point. It seems to just happen at some point in this game, sometimes. It's ruined the perfect visual presentation of my content, for which I apologise, but fortunately, it goes away, eventually. We can live with it. More to the point, there's a surprising amount going on in this puzzle in particular. And not all of it is solvable with your heart, unfortunately. You're not going to escape from this without having to do a little bit of thinking. Not least because you might get, literally trapped between some of these blocks if you're not careful. You can't get fully trapped, you just wind up having to unsolve the puzzle in order to get yourself out. Also, those are a unique item. Technically there's 3 of them, but they're all used for the same thing, and that thing needs 3 of them, so I don't know why they bothered doing that. But hey, fun facts, right?
What good is giving you a rare, unique, craftable item if they don't also give you an opportunity to fuck yourself out of it?
I mean, you can't miss or anything. You can't break the quest. I'm just saying that you get that item in a set of 3, and you consume it in a set of 3. And there's no real reason for it to be 3 rather than 1.
Can you not sell crafting items?
No, you can't sell unique ones anyway.
Ah, okay.
The ones with the gold set of scales as their item icon cannot be sold. They're not that cruel. This game is never cruel. Honestly, the only thing in this game that's even really missable is, trophies, like beating Emily in all the dungeon races. And that's a start a new playthrough kind of material, but that's as bad as it gets. Everything actually, content-wise, items in a playthrough, that stuff's all fine. Anyway, yes, this one is kind of involved. Does require you to think a little more than usual.
Yeah, I see that obviously we're doing a shock chain, but like I don't even know where we're gonna start from.
The deal mostly is that we've had in this one area to make a shock chain or a wave chain, and then we've had to make a shock chain with the same stuff. And no, you have to send it the correct way. And yeah, there's a hole behind that pillar. It's basically impossible to see. Fortunately, it's an error that you'll only make once. Therefore, I can forgive it. More importantly, though, that's not the end of it. We also have to do something similar on the other side, and unless I'm reasonably mistaken, I think I have actually at this point managed to break this room and made it unsolvable without... fortunately you can reset rooms by just leaving and re-entering, but I think we needed the block down here. And the block is currently stuck in the ground, and no, you cannot teleport it out of that. I tried. I'm actually very disappointed that you can't teleport the block out of the holder once you've pushed it in. It seems like you should be consistent with the game mechanics that you can do that, but nope.
That's also not great as far as puzzle design goes. Letting you fuck yourself like that.
Yeah, it's a very qualified element to it. Like, this is the only room that I can think of in the game in which that's possible. It might be possible in some others, but it certainly has never happened. I feel like you'd have to really work at it to break other rooms, whereas this one broke on its own, simply by virtue of me getting a little bit ahead of myself with the old completionist brain. That's something. Most of the rest of this is fine, though. Anyway, what optional dungeon would be complete without an optional boss? I don't know why the game started up one combat music and then immediately segued into another. I don't know what's up with that. Anyway, behold, the gimmick. Any questions?
That definitely is a gimmick.
Yeah, didn't think so. So yeah, the main conceit here is pretty apparent. You get the guy into the light, and that makes him both visible and vulnerable. When not in the light, this guy's a complete piece of shit. Also, it did not ever occur to me at time of recording to try hitting him with a charged up shot wall while he was stuck in place, totally stationary, firing a big stream of wave projectiles. I feel like it's very possible that would have done something.
That's a great attack name there.
Yeah.
Big fan of Die Die Die.
I'm not even sure if, like, technically it's an attack name or if it's just something that he's saying. Why not both, though?
Can the fish talk?
Why not? It wouldn't even be completely unprecedented for the stuff in this game. Certain enemies do seem to have uniquely had that ability, and not just the Cephaslov. We also had the Goat Father, although that required... was not immediately comprehensible without the special device, but technically it has always been dialogue. They've always been talking, so why not? Why not? You can't convince me that this isn't plausible.
I mean, then I suppose we did have the hostage scenario.
Yep. And we had the Son of the East. That whole thing. Anyway, what passes for escalation in this fight is that eventually he starts doing teleports while he's invisible and charging up an attack by the pillars. So you've got to be real quick to catch him on the second one. I don't think it's possible to catch him on the first unless you get lucky and manage to guess where he is. I don't think there's enough time to actually perceive it and make the shots. Also, if you don't shoot him, he starts shooting these gigantic bouncing wave projectiles. And those things hurt. I cannot recommend getting hit by those. It's a bad time. Highly suboptimal.
I bet that if you hit him with the big charge ball, that's what actually breaks him. Because you haven't done it once this fight.
Right, I mean, I feel like he teleports most of the time unless you were to do it while he's doing the big die spam attack. But yes. Like, in retrospect, it seems really obvious that I should have at least tried that. But we seem to be making plenty of hay out of just hitting him with electric shocks while he's sniping us. That is what the game basically gives me. And, I mean, it works. It gets the job done. What do you want from me? Also, miscellaneously, I did have a plan to do, like, exactly one quest with Apollo and Jern as a party, but then that quest turned out to take place entirely in an instance dungeon, so, whoops. What can you do, right? As I've definitely said before, most of the time, the party members, other than, like, sometimes Emily and Citron, don't really have a lot to say during side quests, so, bad news for Apollo and Jern. Anyway, Dakara's had a couple of quests worth of dialogue with us, so I'm trying to piece together whether, morally speaking, we can say that he's figured this out quicker or slower than Emily did. Let's hear some viewer opinions on that. Also, yes, his whole thing is still, it's still ongoing. I'm sure this is gonna have some kind of conclusion, right? I just hope it's not weird.